Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Wood. Today we'll be learning about the amazing two-wheeled invention, the bicycle. But before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell fact from fiction. Consider this, we often think of roads as being built for cars. Cyclists are just guests on their asphalt. But what if I told you that the push for paved roads in America actually came from bicyclists? Could that be true? We'll find out at the end of the episode. Now for your word of the day. Today's word is velocipede. A velocipede was an early type of bicycle, and the term used for various human-powered vehicles with one or more wheels. The word comes from the Latin words velox, meaning swift or speedy, and pes, which means foot. So a velocipede is literally a swift foot. Before the word bicycle became common in the 1860s, these human-powered contraptions were all known as velocipedes, which perfectly captures the idea of using your own feet to travel with speed. Time for your daily high five, our top 5 fun facts about bicycles. Number 1, a bicycle in motion can balance all by itself. You might think that keeping a bicycle upright is all about the skill of the rider, but a lot of it is actually just physics at work. Once a bicycle is moving at a brisk walking pace or faster, it has a natural tendency to stay upright. This is due to a combination of factors, including the geometry of the bike, particularly the angle of the steering axis, and a phenomenon called gyroscopic precession. The spinning wheels act like gyroscopes, and they resist being tilted. So when a moving bike starts to lean to one side, the gyroscopic effect on the front wheel causes it to steer automatically into the lean. This corrective steering brings the wheels back underneath the bike's center of gravity, which helps it to stay balanced. It's a beautiful example of physics in action, and it's what makes riding a bike possible without having to constantly and continuously make tiny adjustments to stay upright. Number 2, the penny-farthing bicycle got its name from old British coins. One of the most iconic early bicycle designs is the penny-farthing, with its huge front wheel and tiny back wheel. This strange-looking machine was all the rage in the 1870s and 80s, but where did it get its unusual name? It actually came from the British currency at the time. The penny was a large coin, and the farthing was a much smaller coin. When you looked at the bicycle from the side, the giant front wheel and the smaller rear wheel looked like a penny and a farthing rolling along together. The large front wheel wasn't just for looks, though. It was for speed. The pedals were attached directly to the hub of the front wheel, so the bigger the wheel, the farther you could travel with each rotation of the pedals. While they were fast, they were also quite dangerous. The rider sat very high up, and if the front wheel hit a bump, it was very easy to be thrown forward over the handlebars in what was known as a header. Number 3. The world produces far more bicycles than cars every single year. It's estimated there are over 1 billion bikes in use around the globe, and their numbers are growing rapidly. In fact, more than 100 million bicycles are estimated to be manufactured worldwide every year, which is quite a bit more than the number of cars produced annually. For those wondering, I've seen estimates of around 93 million cars produced globally in a year. Now, bicycles are outpacing cars in production because bicycles are a much more accessible and affordable form of transportation for a huge portion of the world's population. In many countries, bicycles are the primary mode of transportation for commuting, running errands, and getting to school. They're also, of course, a fantastic source of fun and exercise for people everywhere. Number 4, the bicycle played a role in the women's liberation movement. In the late 19th century, the bicycle became a powerful tool for female emancipation. Before the advent of the safety bicycle, as it was known, with its two wheels of the same size, cycling was a difficult and dangerous activity reserved mostly for athletic young men. But the new, safer design allowed women to ride, and it gave them a newfound sense of freedom and independence. For the first time, a woman could travel on her own without having to rely on a man to drive her in a horse-drawn carriage. This new mobility had a profound impact on women's lives. It allowed them to travel to work, to social gatherings, and to political meetings. The bicycle is even credited with changing women's fashion, as the restrictive corsets and long, heavy skirts of the Victorian era were simply not practical for cycling. Women started wearing bloomers or divided skirts, which was a radical change at the time. Suffragist Susan B. Anthony famously said that the bicycle had, quote, done more to emancipate women than anything else in the world, end quote. And our fifth and final fun fact, the fastest speed ever recorded on a bicycle is an incredible 183.9 miles per hour. You might think of bicycles as a leisurely way to get around, but in the world of speed records, they can be absolute rockets. In 2018, cyclist Denise Mueller-Koronek set the world record for the fastest speed on a bicycle, reaching an astonishing 183.9 miles per hour, which is about 296 kilometers per hour. To achieve this speed, she rode a custom-built, highly aerodynamic bicycle. Now, she didn't do this from a standing start. She was towed by a pace car to a certain speed and then released to pedal under her own power in a slipstream of the car. The pace car had a special fairing on the back to reduce wind resistance. Still, the immense power, skill, and courage required to pedal a bicycle at that speed is just mind-boggling. Now for some news you can use. This one is simple but important, and it often goes overlooked. To make your bike rides safer, more comfortable, and more efficient, check your tire pressure regularly. Your bike's tires have a recommended pressure range printed on the side wall. Riding with tires that are underinflated can make a bike feel sluggish and hard to pedal. It can also increase the risk of getting a flat tire, as the tire can be pinched between the rim and the ground, causing what's known as a pinch flat. On the other hand, overinflating your tires can make for a harsh and bumpy ride. The best way to check and inflate your tires is with a floor pump that has a built-in gauge. Make it a habit to check your tire pressure at least once a week if you're riding regularly. It only takes a minute, and it'll make a big difference in the quality of your ride. Now, as long as I'm talking about comfort and safety when riding, I want to take a moment to talk about bike helmets. Accidents can happen to even the most experienced cyclists. In a fall or collision, your head is particularly vulnerable. A bicycle helmet is engineered to absorb the impact of a crash, distributing the force and protecting your skull. Research has shown that wearing a helmet can reduce the risk of head injury by as much as 85% and reduces the risk of severe brain injury by up to 88%. To ensure your helmet provides the best possible protection, a proper fit is essential. When you put on your helmet, it should sit level on your head and be snug enough that it doesn't move around. A good rule of thumb is the 2v1 method. There should be about 2 fingers width of space between your eyebrows and the bottom of the helmet. The straps should form a V shape just below the earlobes, and you should only be able to fit 1 finger between the chin strap and your chin. The helmet should feel secure without being uncomfortably tight. It's also critical to know when to replace your helmet. All helmets should be replaced immediately after any crash or significant impact, even if there's no visible sign of damage. The protective foam inside can be compromised without any outward signs. And even if you don't get into any accidents, it's still recommended that you replace your helmet every 3 to 5 years because materials degrade from sun exposure as well as just general wear and tear. Now for the moment you've been waiting for. At the beginning, I asked if it's true that the push for paved roads in America was actually started by bicyclists. Well, if you thought that was a fact, you're correct. In the late 1800s, before cars were common, a group called the League of American Wheelmen was a powerful advocate for better roads. At the time, most roads outside of cities were unpaved and in poor condition, making them difficult to ride on. The League of American Wheelmen launched the Good Roads movement, which lobbied local, state, and even the federal government to pave roads. Their efforts were incredibly successful and laid the groundwork for the national highway system we have today. So, the next time you're driving on a smooth, paved road, you can thank those early cyclists for their foresight and advocacy. I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about bicycles with me today. Be sure to tune in every weekday for even more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.